Uncle Significant people. It's your girl Twilight Ma'at, and I'm coming to you today with a topic, the second installment for the video's popular misconceptions. Now I want to address two things before I get the video kicked off. First, if you're a person that doesn't like new schools of thought, or you don't like your belief systems being challenged, or you don't like really new information, you believe there's only one way to live and do things, this video is not for you. The second thing is, a lot of people are like, Twilight, I don't like when you're walking and you're doing videos, it's really distracting. And I'm like, why not, guys? It's a beautiful winter day, it's brisk, come take a walk with me. All right, so popular misconceptions part 2. Okay. Christianity is not enlightenment, and enlightenment is not Christianity. Enlightenment is no religion, yet enlightenment is all religions. Well, what do I mean? Well, if you study your ancient history, you will find that all religions come from the origin of a spiritual system called the Nile Valley system. At least in our human experience, that's as far as we've been able to trace it back. And the Nile Valley system would actually have to do with what the Greeks have named the Egyptians, but we know them to be the Kamites from the country of Kemet, which is now called the country of Egypt. On the pyramid walls, you will find divine laws such as the Metu Neter, or hieroglyphs as they call them. And the Metu Neter contains divine principles which we live by, and it has been condensed into what they call the 12 universal laws, or the Kabbalah. Ultimately, here is the dynamic that we face when it comes to religion, and the reason why it differs from spirituality. So with religion, it tells you that if you meet this particular moral criteria, you are justified, and you are living up to something, which means it places a standard on you. It says this is the standard that you need to live by, and this standard that you live by, which you can find an example of this standard in your religious text, then you are then approved of, and you are living righteously, right? There's some other contexts too that you will find with religion. When it comes to religion, one of the main things, and I'll take Christianity for example, is to get people saved. It is to get them in alignment with this spiritual evolution through confessing Christ as their Lord and Savior. And what that does is it almost makes you recruit people. So if you are, say, in that recruitment mentality, you're not gonna get it. See, a lot of us have transitioned over from religion to enlightenment, and we're still utilizing some of those principles. And there are a lot of people who think that enlightenment is just another religion, when, as I said, it is no religion, and yet it is all religions. So one of the things that is a popular misconception is that we're supposed to be going out there recruiting people to be enlightened, and that is absolutely not how it works. See, with Christianity, which I'm using that for an example, they have what they call a redeemer, okay? They have something outside of themselves that they can defer to for their healing, for their help, for their comfort. Now, you can't convince them that they're simply just connecting with the Christ inside of them, which Christ is simply just a label, which means anointed one. So they're connecting to the God and the higher self within them, which all human beings are actually able to do once they tap into that. But it is hard to convince someone who has a low sense of self-worth, because remember, when you go through religion, you are already told by nature you are dirty and disgusting. That's what it means when it says you're born into sin. You're already born into bondage, right? Ultimately, though, what that does is that keeps you looking for a resolve outside of yourself and never seeing yourself as a reflection of God. Psalms 82:6, know ye self, for ye are gods. But no one internalizes that, because there's far more scriptures of a contradictory nature. And people with low self-worth, when it comes down to being enlightened, it is an intrinsic understanding. And when I say understanding, I mean that you have processed it, that you get it, that it's an epiphany, that it clicks for you, and you have a revelation that you are a reflection of God. Therefore, the things that you are doing, the things that you are saying is right within your nature. You're not doing something miraculous. The special gifts and talents that have been uncovered and revealed to you were always there. You just weren't realizing it, you see? And so ultimately, what ends up happening is these people of this low self-worth and self-nature could never really adopt the self-image that they are worthy of being this high enlightened being, because they have such a low self-concept. Enlightenment is intrinsic to each individual. It is something that you reach through your personal energetic system called the chakras. It is when your chakras are aligned. It is when you have access to the third eye and the crown chakra. It has absolutely nothing to do with something outside of you making you acceptable. You've had 35 years of religion and a year and a half of enlightenment on and off, because you're still removing layers. You're still going through all of the emotional highs and lows that come with gaining balance of the higher self and the lower self. So there's no way that you are completely redeemed from religion, myself included, because I spent maybe about the first year on my enlightened path thinking that if I give people enough information, if I show them how they have been socially engineered to think themselves lowly of themselves, that they would then snap out of it and they would think highly of themselves, and then they would be able to reach their higher self. But that was a journey that I had no power to dictate. Therefore, my thought process was in the save mentality. I'm going to save them. I'm going to recruit them to be enlightened, and that's absolutely a fallacy. I had to realize that when people embody low self-worth, they also embody other habits and behavior, like addictions, cigarettes, sex, porn, alcohol, so forth, etc., etc., etc. And nothing's wrong with sex, but it's how you're using the sex that determines if it's coming from your higher self or your lower self. And it's not a matter of morality either. See, but that's another topic for another time. The thing is that these things become anchors on their soul. These addictions, these habits, these behaviors, these poor self-talk, it becomes anchors on their soul. And so these are the things that are covering up that light. It is the shadows in front of the light. And a lot of times people spend so much time trying to deny it. What they're looking for is this one thing that's going to come into their life, drop into their lap, and make everything all right. That's what they're looking for. When they hear about enlightenment, they get excited. They're like, yay, enlightenment. Oh, I'm so glad I don't gotta go to church no more. Oh, I was so tired of Sister Agnew's wig and deacon's breath and so a lot of people are looking for that one thing to drop in their lap and make everything all right. But that's not how enlightenment works, is it? Enlightenment works pretty much like, it's like, how can I say this? So, take this tree, for example, behind me. All right. So, the tree is basically has roots, and it started out with seed. And these roots are firmly planted in the ground. In fact, if you saw a picture of the earth, you would see that the tree reproduces itself underground too. So that same structure of the tree that's on the outside that you see is on the inside. So that's deeply rooted into the ground, which also has to do with as above, so below, as within, so without. That is the law of correspondence. That is a universal law. So that means whatever is on the inside of you is going to manifest on the outside of you, much like that tree, because everything is nature, netters. Nature gives us a lot of lessons. And what happens is when people have seeds planted in them that make them think less of themselves, that make them think that they are unworthy, they're born into sin, they're dirty by nature, they're horrific by nature. That is a seed that's planted. And that seed is as deeply rooted as what you see on the outside. So only by digging up the roots of the corrupt tree can you truly be able to balance your higher self and your lower self. There is no way you can do this without acknowledging the darkness within you. And like I said, a lot of people, they just want to find a way to have something drop into their lap, no work, and then this one thing just cure all their problems. And that's absolutely not the way that it works. Even in your mindfulness, during your breath, your meditation, you're simply just opening the door to see more of yourself. I would definitely say forgive yourself. Relieve yourself of the pressure of feeling like you're this horrible individual that is going to be in bondage no matter what. Also, you cannot stop someone who chooses to believe that they do not deserve to be happy. A lot of people say, oh, it's a nice idea, I want to be happy. But a lot of people feel that they are not worthy of happiness. They feel that there's some sort of penance or some sort of reward for you to live in lack and suffering. And they think that this is spiritual and divine. And it is not. You are designed to live abundant. And abundance doesn't necessarily have to do with money. We need to alter what our consciousness thinks abundance is. Abundance means living in freedom in your soul, in your spirit, living to be able to come into to spread love and joy to other people. That is living in abundance. And when you are living in abundance in that manner, it does attract financial things to you, financial increase to you, simply because you are in a spirit of increase. So everything in your life will increase, including your opportunities, including your relationships. That is abundance, people. Abundance is not necessarily tied to money. But again, you cannot change someone's perception of themselves. It is their choice to decide if they are worthy of living that life. And a lot of people do not feel worthy for whatever reason. Now you can point them in a direction, plant the seed, just like the tree that grew. But to get them to remove those corrupt roots is a choice-laden thing. And that is the point of enlightenment, that you cannot change for anyone, no matter how badly you want it to change for them.